Hello guys, welcome all of you to today's Farmcast. Today we'll discuss 5 drugs of choice, one important monoclonal antibody, and a few questions asked by the students, which I'll discuss at last. Right. So let us straight away begin with the drugs of choice for today. Guys, the first one is a MAC or Mycobacterium avium complex. So as all of you know, for any kind of mycobacterium, right? So avium complex or leprosy or TB. One thing is common that we never use single drug or monotherapy is never used to prevent drug resistance, right? And to increase the efficacy as well. So similarly guys, for MAC also we use a regimen, and as you know, in mycobacterium there are two phases, right? One is an intensive phase and one is a continuous phase. So intensive phase, we use 4 drugs: REC, rifampicin, ethambutol, clarithromycin, plus an aminoglycoside, right? So 4 drugs, that is in intensive phase. In the continuous phase, we use 3 drugs, that is only REC, no aminoglycoside, that is rifampicin, ethambutol, and clarithromycin. So intensive phase, REC plus aminoglycoside; continuous phase, only REC. Moving on to the second disorder for today, mycoplasma. Guys, see, mycoplasma, if I talk about mycoplasma hominis, right? And along with mycoplasma hominis, let us take ureaplasma as well, because mycoplasma hominis and ureaplasma, they are mostly co-associated and both can cause urethritis or STD, sexually transmitted disease. And genitourinary tract infection is common with mycoplasma hominis and ureaplasma. So guys, if they ask you what is the drug of choice for genitourinary infection caused by mycoplasma hominis or ureaplasma, what do you think is the drug of choice? Think guys, think. Which class of antibiotic will be preferred here? Guys, here the drug of choice would be doxycycline. So doxycycline is the drug of choice if mycoplasma hominis or ureaplasma causes STD, urogenital infection. But if it is mycoplasma pneumoniae, right, which causes atypical pneumonia. So mycoplasma pneumoniae, atypical pneumonia. What is the drug of choice for atypical pneumonia? Macrolides, right? Macrolides, and the preferred macrolide currently is azithromycin, longest acting drug, right? Once a day therapy, much easier to use, right? So mycoplasma pneumoniae, guys, azithromycin is the drug of choice. Though for mycoplasma pneumoniae, if you don't have azithromycin, you can also use doxycycline or you can also use levofloxacin, but the drug of choice is azithromycin. Moving on to the next disorder for today, guys, myelodysplasia. So a few days back, I had discussed in the section of anti-cancer drug, 2 drugs which are used in myelodysplasia. Can you remember? Which drugs are those, guys? I discussed 2 drugs, azacitidine and dacitabine, right? So these are the preferred drugs or drugs of choice for treatment of myelodysplasia, except if it is a case of myelodysplasia with 5q syndrome, where anemia is more commonly seen. So myelodysplasia with 5q syndrome is specifically mentioned, then your drug of choice is lenalidomide. Moving on to the next disorder, guys, myelofibrosis. Guys, myelofibrosis, the drug of choice is an anti-cancer drug called as hydroxyurea. So hydroxyurea is a drug of choice for myelofibrosis. And the last disorder for today, or not disorder, rather say narcoanalysis process, and this process, narcoanalysis, the drug of choice or the preferred drug is thiopentone, remember, currently, right? So an alternative is scopolamine, and scopolamine is not much preferred nowadays because of its toxicity profile. Thiopental sodium is less toxic as compared to scopolamine. So that's all in this section of drug of choice, right? So as I said, I'll be discussing one monoclonal antibody every day. The antibody that I've chosen today is very important, guys. It will be asked in our exams in the coming times. And that monoclonal antibody is called as ustekinumab, ustekinumab. So ustekinumab is a monoclonal antibody that is used for some disorders. Now you can find out, first of all, mechanism of action. See, ustekinumab is a drug that acts by blocking interleukin 12 and 23. So it is an anti-interleukin 12, 23 monoclonal antibody. And you know, guys, interleukins are mostly responsible for what? Inflammation, right? So it is an anti-inflammatory monoclonal antibody that is used for some disorder. Now let us try to find about the use from the name itself. See, ustekin, you know the kin, KIN, this kin, it's, represents keratinocytes. So keratinocytes, are involved in a disorder called as psoriasis. So it is used in psoriasis. So you can remember kin, or you can remember from kin as skin. So ustekinumab, it is used in a skin disorder, that is psoriasis, right? Apart from that, ustekinumab, because of its anti-inflammatory effect, it is used in inflammatory bowel disease. So it is approved both for ulcerative colitis as well as Crohn's disease. So ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, we can use ustekinumab, right guys? So these are important uses. So one disorder you have to remember skin, right? Another disorder you have to remember the bowel disorders, and you'll be done with that. Alright guys, so we are done with the two sections of Pharmcast. Now we'll come down to our last section where I discuss some of your queries, right? Alright, so I have two queries today, and one is from Vaishnavi Sai, and another one is from Sunaina Sheikh. And I'm discussing both these queries together because what they're asking is day by day is getting very depressing, and things are getting tough, and we are feeling kind of hollowness, emptiness sometime, right guys? So I have already covered this earlier in my Pharmcast, that these last few months before the exam, they are very difficult indeed, because there is too much pressure. And why this pressure is there, especially in these last months? The reason being, you have spread an entire empire of 19 subjects, right? Through the last 7 to 8 months, you have gone through the videos, texts, notes, etc., QBank, and now what you're trying to do is, whatever you have studied in these 8-9 months, you are trying to put them together in a very less time, right? 2 months, let us say 60 days, you are trying to revise the entire content, and believe me, that is no easy task. So you have to overwork yourself, right? You have to be different, and you have to be more optimistic in these times. The reason being, see, I always tell you that you have to always keep on telling you, right, yourself, that why you began all this. What is the reason when you started with these preparation? Your aim was to get a PG seat, so you're gonna get there. But this is the most crucial time where you have to hold yourself together, right? You cannot let yourself fall apart in these last times, because it is of utmost importance. So keep reminding yourself, and guys, go day by day. I'm telling you, you don't look at 3 months, right? So how am I gonna study for next 3 months? Don't look at that, forget about it. Take it day by day. So make a timetable for next day, and your focus should be entirely on that day, that I need to cover this by hook or crook. So give yourself daily targets and try to achieve them bit by bit. So overall you would see that you'll come out as a winner after the period of 3 months. So you have to keep yourself motivated, guys, right? Alright, so the next doubt is by Madhulita Patnaik, and she's asking, she has already been through the videos in Mero Pharmacology, and she's asking me, sir, next exam is coming, right? Next is approaching. So will you change some way your lectures, and should I revisit or rewatch your lectures when you upload next year, because you might change something with respect to next? So let me tell you something. See, Madhulita, next is just a name, right? It's just a name, and it won't change much depending upon how I teach. Because if you have gone through my lectures, I begin with the very basic physiology of a system, right? Then I go into the pathology, right, explaining as to how that physiology is changed and that gives you disease. Then I insert pharmacology into it, telling you about how the drug acts in the physiological system or pathophysiological system. Then I tell you about the side effects, uses, and then finally I give a finishing touch with medicine as to where this drug, when it should be used, right, in a disease. So this is the way I look at pharmacology, that I should give you an entire package, which means what? No matter what is the exam, right? What is the exam? You will come out as an absolute winner. So you might know that I run my own online classes for USMLE as well, right? I have my online classes called as Pharmally, and I have students accessing my lectures for USMLE throughout the world, in USA, Canada, and all. So the reason why I'm telling you this is I don't teach differently for NEET exam, for USMLE. That is the way I teach. I mean, my way is just like that. It would suit to any exam, because see, and that is true with each and every subject. If a subject is being taught focusing on the concept, right, does not matter what is the exam. It is NEET exam, FMG exam, it is your INICET, AIMS, JIPMA, PGI, is it USMLE, is it PLAB? It does not matter, guys. It does not matter, because the pharmacology is same. It's not going to change at the end of the day. I hope you have understood, Madhulita. So stick to the lectures that I've taught, and there's more than enough for your next exam as well. All right. Harideep Kumar is asking me, sir, please select only NEET PG life relevant questions for discussion here. Hardeep, see, sometimes I see the plight of the students, and even if it is not a NEET PG related or something else related to their life, so I feel obliged to address them. So because if 1 minute of couple of my words can be helpful to someone, then I say, well, why not, right? So we have to be considerate to all the students. All right, looking at the next question. Pari Mathur is asking, sir, my GT percentile is 30, is very low. When I give GT, I feel I've seen the options before, but I end up messing the answer. Some questions are like, I've never seen them before. And will the real exam also be like this, sir? See, Pari Mathur, coming to your first aspect, see, when you go to the exams, and for many questions, you would see that I have seen these questions, I've seen these options, I know something about this disease, and for those questions, you should make an attempt. Now, why you are confused between options and not getting the right answer, that points towards lack of revision. So once you're through your first revision, you will see that very easily you would be able to rule out 2 options at least, right? Then you have to take a final take in between those 2 options. So don't get me wrong. It's not just that by just pure guessing you are getting the right answer. No, you are able to make a guess. It is an educated guess. The reason being, you have studied so much, you have invested so much. It does not happen all of a sudden. For example, there is a person who is not preparing at all, and he can go to the exam and he will try to rule out. He might rule out, get the right answer, right? But there is not the right way. So what you are going to do is, after you finish your revision, right, first revision, you will see things will they'll start to fall into place. And to your second part of the question, like there will be questions, there are some questions like I've never seen, and yes, that's going to happen in the exam as well. In your real exam, NEET exam, there will be few questions. Let us say out of 300, what I've seen is 20 to 30 questions are like you would have no clue about what they are asking or which topic is it. For those questions, I always say act as if they do not exist, right? So you have to leave at the end of the day. Don't force yourself to go after each and every kill, right? Don't kill each and every question. So leave some which you have no idea about. But if there is a question, you have idea about what the question is, you can rule out one option. Even if one option at least, you can still go with the question, right? Coming to the next question, guys. Ankush Singh has asked, sir, I've applied for UPSC CMS, which is on 22nd of this month. My center is in another city. I have to travel a day before and will consume my 2 days. I'm preparing for NEET PG. Will it be good to give the exam? See, Ankush, I've already covered something similar to this. Students have asked many times, sir, how to go about the AIMS exam if NEET is my target? Now, you have answered your question yourself. What have you asked me here, Ankush? You have asked me that I'm preparing for NEET PG, right? So you have answered yourself. You're preparing for NEET PG. So see, what I would have done in your place is, see, for example, I don't want to be a medical officer, right? I do want to my PG. That is my first option. And if there is anything, XYZ, anything, an UPSC CMS exam, anything can be an obstacle in my revision, and that is gonna hamper my NEET PG exam. So I would never go for that, because that is what something you need to realize. So what is your primary focus? For example, as I said, if it is wasting your 2 days or 3 days plus minus, and if you think it is gonna hamper your revision, then I think you should give it a miss and go for the NEET PG exam. But if you're serious about like keeping a second option open, and you think that you can afford these 2 days, you can go for the exam. But probably what I would have done in your place, if NEET PG was my target, then I would have forgotten about everything else, and I would have done my planning according to the NEET PG. And because even one day, you would have realized by now, Even every hour, every second, every minute counts now in these last months, right? So, Ankush, you have to take a call based upon that. All right. Dr. Yamini is asking the next question. Sir, I'm a second time drop student and I have done my coaching classes and I have my notes and I could not study because of some issues, right? And just I have started studying. As you have said, there is always hope. So what should I do now? Should I watch all the revision videos, study my daily notes? How should I prepare? See, Dr. Yamini, at the end of the day, those notes are the ones which were prepared by you. Now, so they are not alien to you. So you know the nook and corners of those notes. So going forward, now the best thing for you would be to give at least for you, I'm specifically saying 70% to your notes. So try to revise daily. So make a timetable. Yamini, make a timetable. Not much time is left, but what you can do is you can make a timetable for 2 revisions. So make a timetable where you make a big revision for, let us say, 60 to 70 days and 10 to 15 days of smaller revision. So in 60 to 70 days, what you should do is you should try to revise the entire notes every day. Like let us say 70% of your time, 7 hours, 3 hours try to do the Q bank questions, and don't do anything new in this time, because if you want to get something, now you have to narrow down your focus pretty much on your notes, revise your notes, do the Q bank, and then you can go ahead. See guys, I focus on notes, and some of you might not be bullish on notes. This does not mean you are wrong, right? All of us are different person, right? If you are more bullish on MCQs and you are by solving Q banks and going through the explanation, and if you feel that is the right way for you, then you are right. You are not wrong. That I'm not saying, because all of us are different, right? I might have a different purview of a way that I need to reach my goals. You might have a different purview. So that's important. But the only thing you need to know is you should believe in whatever you are doing, right? So if you're doing that, you should believe in it, have faith in it. All right. So Yamini, I hope I have got that clear to you. So just focus on your notes plus do some Q bank. Alright, so next question is asked by Bharat Sharma. Sir, I have few subjects left, plus it seems like a portion is never going to get completed. Can I leave medicine? Bharat Sharma, you cannot leave medicine. I'm sorry to say that. You cannot leave medicine. The reason being, in the upcoming NEET exam, it would be, flushed with a lot of clinical questions. And you need to have a solid idea of medicine, because you cannot leave medicine, guys. In fact, you cannot leave anything. You cannot leave anything. The only thing is you need to work your way around it. For example, let us say any subject XYZ I cannot do. Like for example, I have told this many times in these farmcasts that I fell ill and I didn't have time to study pediatrics. So what I did was I did only questions for pediatrics. So I didn't leave pediatrics. But at least I did questions of the past 10 to 15 years and made some notes out of those. So you cannot just blatantly leave a subject and expect a good rank in the exam, because it is a competitive exam. It's not a screening test where you have to get 50%. Are you getting my point? So, and I've told you time and again, for students like you, it is the best way to use the revision videos. So X, Y, Z subject, I'm not able to cover, right? So what I can do, I can just go through the revision videos, and that would be quick, and I would be covering the subject as well, plus solve some questions. So that's how you have to judiciously use the revision videos, right? All right, so now coming to the last question for today. Gopi Krishna has asked, sir, there is a rapid revision class face-to-face for 4 days, covering each subject in 3 hours. Should I listen to those classes for knowing high yield areas or continue with my revision, sir? See, Gopi Krishna, let me put it this way. As I have already said that these revision classes and all, right? So these are new stuffs. New stuffs, I do not mean that they are teaching you something new, but in the order they would be taught to you, and it would be presented to you, the data and all. It would be a new order. So, and you have to again memorize them, remember them. So just attending a class is not important, right? So if you are attending a class for 4 days, right? 4 days, then the amount of matter that you are gonna get you'll need at least 10 days to revise and remember them. And again, 2 to 3 days, last leg of revision you have to do. Now, if you can afford this, then you can go ahead and attend that. So as I always say, it's always your priorities. What are your priorities? Even if you see regarding the revision videos in Mero, I've time and again said that these revision videos can really be a steroid booster for your preparation if you use them judiciously, right? So if I'll make a routine that I'll sit and go through all the 19 subject revision videos, that might be counterproductive. But if I'll use this judiciously, for example, there is a subject called as pediatrics or radiology, which because of lack of time I could not cover. So what I would do is I would just go and do the revision videos and hope for the best. So which means what? In the limited time, I could cover the subject, right? And it is called as calculative risk, right? And thereby not hampering my schedule as well. So here, see, revision is important. And remember one thing, that going forward, revising your own notes and solving questions is important. And if you think that you can take out these 4 days from your schedule and another 10 days to revise those matter, because you need to revise those and it will cover at least 10 days to revise this again. So if that is what you can incorporate into your timetable, and look at your timetable, and it's not me, your timetable will tell you if you can do this or not, right? Alright guys, so that's all for today's session. And if you guys have any kinds of doubts and queries related to your preparation, you can always ask me. I'll try to incorporate it in the next Farmcast. So that's all guys, take care, bye bye. This was Dr. Ranjan with you.